The video of me visiting the sick Crown Prince of Beijing's elite only to be kicked out of his hospital room shot straight to the top of the trending searches. In an interview, the Crown Prince's girlfriend said, "Not just any random Tom, Dick, or Harry can walk through the doors of the Carter family." I was dumbfounded. The so-called Crown Prince of Beijing's elite is my little brother. I'm going back into my own home. Since when did I need permission from some outsider? I'm a newly promoted rising star the company has been investing heavily in, and out of nowhere, a video about me blew up on the trending list. In the video, I'm carrying a thermal lunch container to visit the sick Crown Prince of Beijing's elite, Jasper Carter. But the moment I stepped into the room, the butler ushered me right back out. I didn't leave because of that. Instead, I clung to the doorframe and kept shouting into the room. As if I couldn't accept being thrown out. At that moment, the reading comprehension skills netizens had been training since childhood were pushed to their absolute limits. The second the video dropped, the entire internet exploded. "This is way too pathetic, she got kicked out and still won't leave. You can tell she's dying to crawl into the Crown Prince's bed." Another celebrity trying to take a shortcut, only to get smacked down by the straight man Crown Prince. But that's not the truth at all. Just as I was about to go on Weibo to clarify, a clip of an interview with the newly popular rising star Helen Sarah was released. The host asked Helen what she thought about the video. Helen covered her face shyly. "I believe in Jasper's loyalty to love. And besides," she lifted her head, smiling with confidence. "Besides, not just any random Tom, Dick, or Harry can walk through the doors of the Carter family." This time, the trending searches truly detonated. Hashtag the real girlfriend responds hashtag. Hashtag the wife's confidence hashtag. Hashtag the standard for marrying into wealth hashtag. One tag after another climbed the rankings. Meanwhile, Helen's fans flooded my Weibo comments with vicious spam. Homewrecker. Mistress. Problematic artist. Get out of the entertainment industry. My fingers moved faster than my eyes. I immediately set my comments to paid only. In an instant, her fans were all stunned. Of course, there were still some stubborn ones who started paying just to curse. Once things escalated to this point, the company's leadership couldn't sit still anymore. They sent me a video conference on the spot. President Lee was the first to speak. "Monica Brown, do you even know how many resources the company has poured into you lately? That variety show you're going on in a few days is a top-rated primetime program on Apple TV. Without A-list status, you can't be a regular cast member. We racked our brains to squeeze you in. Explain your behavior. What exactly are you doing?" Meeting President Lee's disappointed gaze, I knew I couldn't hide it anymore. "Jasper is my brother." After a moment's thought, I added, "My biological brother, the kind that's on the same household register." The moment I finished, President Lee's eyes widened to twice their size. I kept explaining the hospital visit video that had been caught on camera. I went to visit Jasper because I was the one who sent him to the hospital. The variety show the company got for me was a live-streamed cooking cabin show called Delicious Little House. But I'd never set foot in a kitchen. I'm the type who can't even tell salt from sugar. So, to avoid embarrassing myself on the show, I spent an entire afternoon learning from online cooking tutorials. I followed short videos step by step and immediately felt like cooking was easy as breathing. After a whole round of operations, the dish came out of the pan at the exact moment Jasper got home. And under the absolute suppression of bloodline authority, Jasper ate every last bite of what I'd made. That night, he ended up in the hospital with stomach pain and food poisoning. The next day, when I found out, I simmered a pot of congee and rushed over to visit him. The second Jasper heard it was cooked by my own hands, he immediately told the butler to stop me. The butler grandpa could only drag me to the doorway, utterly helpless. "Miss, please leave the young master a way to live." I clung to the doorframe and shouted into the room. "Jasper, is that really necessary? Are you deliberately avoiding me? The congee is definitely fine, why don't you try it again?" Jasper sounded like he was on the verge of tears. "Sis, I'm begging you, spare me. I still have to go to the company for a meeting. You can't seriously make me go while I'm exploding with diarrhea, can you?" I rubbed my nose. My little brother had grown up, he even cared about maintaining his cold CEO image now. So I could only say regretfully, "Fine, fine. I'll cook for you next time." And that was the full truth behind the video. It was absolutely not what netizens imagined. After hearing me out, President Lee fell silent. I tested the waters. Should I have Jasper come out and explain it publicly? President Lee paused. "So, is Helen really Jasper's girlfriend?" That question made my eyes turn cold. I didn't know Helen well, and I never interfered in Jasper's dating life. Not until recently, when Helen and I ended up in the same production crew. Only then did I see her true colors beneath the mask. Originally, I planned to reveal things slowly to my love-brained little brother and get the two of them to break up. But then this whole incident blew up. Just as I finished speaking, President Lee's phone rang. After he hung up, he said bluntly, "I just got word, Helen and Jasper are parachuting into the variety show you're about to film. From what Helen's implying, she's planning to use you as a talking point." I sneered. "Then we won't clarify anything yet. I'd like to see who's stepping on whom to climb higher." Delicious Little House was a variety show with both live streaming and edited broadcast. The moment the guest list was released, the buzz shot up like a rocket. Besides the fandoms, plenty of passers-by came just to watch the impending bloodbath. 2 women fighting over 1 man, a bloodbath. And it's live. This is insane, this is insane. Could those earlier trending topics have all been marketing for the show? No way, right? Who's that powerful, able to get the Crown Prince to show up? By the time filming began, the live stream room had barely opened for testing before countless viewers flooded in. The production team decisively hauled their equipment into the dressing room to start shooting. Helen did her makeup while reading the live comments. "How did you convince the Crown Prince to come on a variety show?" She looked into the camera through the mirror and gave a smile that sighed, "If you know, you know. You just sign him up," she said lightly. "There's no need to persuade him." "Ah. Helen is feeding me dog food right in my face. He spoils her so much. The Crown Prince listens to Helen about everything. I'm going to protect this sweet love story. We absolutely can't let certain shameless homewreckers ruin it." Off to the side, I listened with my mouth twitching uncontrollably. The day the guests were announced, Jasper sent me a message in a panic. "Sis, I'm in a crash course learning cooking right now. When we're on the show, remember, don't touch anything." Clearly, Jasper assumed I was the one who'd signed him up. He never expected it to turn into material for Helen to show off her affection. The time in the makeup room ended with Helen flirting nonstop. Then we entered the delicious little house and officially started filming. Besides me, Jasper, and Helen, there were 3 other guests. A veteran Best Actor, a veteran Best Actress, and a top-charting singer, Grant. The 6 of us would freely split into 3 groups to complete the tasks. As soon as the director finished speaking, Helen immediately grabbed Jasper's hand. "Jasper and I are a team." Everyone instinctively looked at me. Even the camera deliberately cut to a tight close-up of my face. I didn't disappoint them. I turned to Jasper. The corners of my mouth lifted, my expression innocent. "Jasper, didn't you say last night you'd be on a team with me?" All eyes shifted to Jasper. Jasper broke out in a sweat. "I choose." He paused, glanced at me cautiously, then hesitated and looked at Helen. Just then, it was as if something occurred to him. His eyes lit up, and he strode quickly over to Grant. "I'll team up with Grant." "Perfect, we can let the audience see what men in the new era can do in the kitchen." Jasper's choice left everyone dumbstruck. Helen was publicly slapped down, and her face turned ugly. My expression wasn't pretty either, because that meant I'd be grouped with Helen. What is this? This pairing is insane, the official girlfriend and the mistress in one team? Aren't they afraid they'll start fighting? Doesn't that give Monica a chance for deliberate revenge? My poor Helen. Look at Helen's expression, the Crown Prince is definitely going home to kneel on the keyboard. I'm dying, hasn't he been kneeling every day lately? Even if everyone hated the grouping, it was a done deal. The production team brought out 3 cards. The kitchen had absolutely nothing, the 3 groups needed to split up and purchase supplies. These 3 cards corresponded to the cookware and ingredients each group had to buy, and the amount of time each location could be used for shopping. Helen and I happened to draw vegetables, the easiest of the 3. But the simpler the task, the shorter the time they gave. Our starting time was only 10 seconds. What could you even do in 10 seconds? It wasn't enough time to grab a single bundle of greens. Helen and I got into the same car and headed to the task location. The whole way, Helen leaned against the window with her eyes closed. Her fragile profile and thin, lonely silhouette made viewers wail with sympathy. Helen is really hurt by the Crown Prince this time. She kept up that performance all the way there. Even I got tired just watching. If I hadn't seen her true face before, I might have been fooled too. Once we arrived at the market, we had half an hour to search for time extension cards. Helen was still acting half dead and heartbroken. She only found 30 seconds worth of extra time. I brought back 2 minutes worth. But the production team confiscated every extension card I found and split it evenly with Helen. And the director never appeared on camera, this part wasn't included in the live stream at all. What is this feeling of a concubine serving the empress? No matter how much she sucks up, Helen won't even spare her a glance. Viewers who didn't know what was going on thought I'd voluntarily given Helen my extra time. In their eyes, in this invisible battle, I was the one who bowed my head first. Once the time was settled, we got one more chance to choose tools for collecting ingredients. Of course, for the sake of entertainment, they weren't anything serious. One option was a makeup pouch. The other was a roll of trash bags. Helen snatched the makeup pouch first. I silently took the trash bags. Trash bags were basically plastic bags. Not only could a makeup pouch barely hold any vegetables, carrying it would also be an extra burden. I was very satisfied with the result. Start! At the director's shout, I grabbed the trash bag and sprinted 100 meters to the stalls. Leafy greens, Napa cabbage, baby bok choy, cabbage, anything my eyes landed on, I grabbed a handful. Helen, meanwhile, moved with such elegance it was as if she were walking a runway. The live stream was deliberately split into 2 screens, making the contrast painfully obvious. Monica looks like a lunatic. The Crown Prince definitely won't like this type. Obviously, she's always the one throwing herself at him. The Crown Prince is just kind, he didn't want to embarrass her in public. Isn't this exactly, give her an inch and she'll take a mile? So disgusting. Amid the arguing, the 2 minutes ended in a blink. Helen's elegant outcome was that she hadn't grabbed much at all. Especially next to my trash bag, which looked like I was stocking up for the apocalypse, hers seemed even more pitiful. Helen stared into the camera, her face full of guilt. I'm sorry, everyone. It's all my fault. Tonight, I just won't eat, okay? Monica only got that much because Helen took the useless makeup pouch. The credit should be shared. Yeah. What if our Helen goes hungry? Don't worry, she has the Crown Prince. He won't let his girlfriend starve. I didn't know any of the fighting online. I only knew the team task from hell was finally over. We were the first group to finish. We waited a long time before the other 2 groups returned. At this moment, Jasper had completely lost his cold CEO aura. His hair was a mess. There were obvious water stains on his face and clothes. Looks like he'd gone to the seafood section. Helen immediately took a hot towel to wipe Jasper's face, speaking softly as she fussed over him. So sweet, so sweet. Helen was angry behind the scenes, but the moment she saw him, she couldn't help softening. Honestly, those 2 really do look like a couple. That Monica, sitting on the sofa like some old lord, no wonder she got kicked out of the hospital room. She's probably keeping her distance on camera. Off camera, who knows how she acts coquettish. Once all 3 groups had arrived, the guests began sorting the ingredients. Jasper's group really delivered, besides beef and lamb, they'd somehow brought back fish, shrimp, and crab too. Helen immediately put on another display of affection. Perfect. We can make Jasper's favorite, sweet and sour fish. Sweet and sour fish? That sounded pretty good. Once Jasper and Helen broke up, I could make him sweet and sour fish too, to comfort him a little. Thinking that, I turned to Jasper. Later I'll learn it, next time I'll make you sweet and sour fish. Jasper panicked and blurted out, no, I don't like it. The moment his words fell, a strange silence spread through the room. Online, though, it exploded. 1 second, wife, I love it. Next second, I don't dare love, can't love even a little. How can this Monica be so shameless? I'm seriously speechless. Monica is such a copycat. Insider info says she's trying to ride Helen's popularity to climb up. Bang. A sudden noise drew everyone's attention. I turned toward the sound and saw Helen fumbling the bag in her hands, vegetables spilled all over the floor. When Jasper saw what had fallen out, his expression shifted. He looked at Helen, hesitating. Under everyone's curiosity, I crouched down and picked up a handful of spinach from the ground. You took spinach? Hearing me, Helen didn't answer directly. Instead, she asked warily, what's wrong with spinach? I didn't respond to that. I kept pressing. You were planning to make this for Jasper? Helen's face turned pitifully aggrieved. Monica, are you going to learn this dish too? How can you copy me everywhere you go? Just knowing how to cook a few dishes doesn't mean you can hold on to a man. The Carter family doesn't lack chefs. I'm going to puke. This Monica is really that nasty. She's not even pretending. She's openly being the third party. Can someone please get her out of the entertainment industry? I can't stand watching this. Mad but still looking for sugar, I'm a couple shipper. While the bullet comments were tearing each other apart and everyone on set looked confused, I finally spoke. Jasper has been severely allergic to spinach since he was little. You love him so much, yet you don't even know what he's allergic to. Helen's expression stiffened. She turned to Jasper for confirmation. Jasper nodded. I really have always been allergic to spinach. Helen bit her lip. I'll know from now on. I've never bought spinach before, so I didn't know. I raised my brows. Oh? When you cook for Jasper, you don't ask about dietary restrictions? You don't ask what he can't eat? Even when you eat out, the server asks about allergies. Seems like Miss Sarah hasn't actually paid Jasper that much attention. Helen looked at Jasper, delicate and helpless. Jasper took over for her. It's my fault. I forgot to tell Helen. Usually the butler buys the ingredients, so foods I'm allergic to naturally wouldn't show up. Jasper added, we have dedicated chefs at home too. Helen doesn't cook much. His explanation was fairly reasonable. The viewers in the live stream bought it. But I'm his biological sister. One look at the expression on his face and I knew. He was covering for Helen, smoothing things over for her. Seeing the atmosphere turn tense, Grant hurried to lighten the mood. Perfect. I don't like spinach either, so let's just return it to the show crew. The other guests also began to steer the conversation away, chatting about what to make for dinner. Since it was a food program, the kitchen was especially large. Even with all 6 guests inside, it didn't feel crowded at all. I knew the fewest dishes. After picking through ingredients for ages, I finally decided what to cook. When I stood up to head into the kitchen, I happened to meet Helen's vicious gaze. I shrugged and decided to provoke her all the way. If Helen got angry, that made things easier. It wouldn't be long before she showed her true colors. After I entered the kitchen, Jasper deliberately stood right beside me. His eyes kept flicking over my movements, studying what I was doing. That, again, made the livestream audience misunderstand. What's this supposed to mean? The crown prince is really getting stolen away by another woman? No way. I refuse to accept this. Ugh. Men really are all trash. I feel so bad for Helen. Before long, even I couldn't take it anymore. Jasper, are you afraid I'm going to poison you? Jasper gave an awkward smile and muttered, we're filming, aren't we? I'm just scared I'll end up being carried out after eating. Has it occurred to you that, with this many dishes, you don't actually have to eat what I cook? Jasper's eyes went wide. Oh really? That's allowed? But if you feed it to someone else, I'm even more worried. If I send them to the hospital too, isn't that kind of bad? That did seem, kind of bad. Even though I felt I'd improved and wouldn't send anyone to the hospital again, just in case, I should still avoid making the other guests suffer. It wasn't easy filming a show. Then I'll just do tomato and egg stir fry. That shouldn't send anyone back lying down, right? Jasper visibly relaxed and volunteered to beat the eggs. I went back, grabbed a tomato, washed it clean, and pulled out a knife to slice it. Right then, a figure slammed into my elbow. Instinctively, I shifted to the side. Because I dodged, Helen didn't manage to bump into me. She fell hard onto the floor, letting out a piercing scream. Ah! And I, calm as ever, continued what I was doing, as if nothing had happened. A flash of malice crossed Helen's eyes. She clutched her ankle and started crying. It hurt so much. Helen, why did you stick your foot out to trip me? The moment those words landed, the entire internet exploded. What a vicious woman, can't win openly, so she plays dirty. Poor Helen. She comes to film a variety show and gets hurt both physically and mentally. I can't take it, Monica's already doing this to Helen, and the crown prince still isn't blacklisting her? What is he waiting for? Monica, get out of the entertainment industry. Right there on set, I laughed in anger. She did it herself and still dared to shove the blame onto me? I set down the tomato I'd sliced into a lumpy mess. Holding the cleaver, I turned to look at Helen. Tell me, what do you think would happen if this knife landed on your foot? If you insist on blaming me even for your own karma. I placed the knife down in front of Helen and bared my teeth in a chilling grin. Then I'll have to meet your expectations. Helen scrambled backward in a panic. You lunatic. You're crazy. This is live. Are you really going to do something on a live stream? I let out a soft laugh and pulled the knife back. Then, meaningfully, I said, exactly. So why would I trip you in the live stream, right in front of everyone? Why you? Helen choked on her words. Jasper, anxious at the side, couldn't wait any longer. He strode to Helen. Where are you hurt? Does it hurt? Helen instantly switched faces. Tears welled in her eyes as she said pitifully, it hurts. The moment she said it, Jasper bent down and lifted her into his arms. Then we're stopping. We're not filming. Helen froze. And no. How can we stop halfway through? Jasper soothed her. Your health matters most. The crew and the fans will understand. Helen didn't want to miss out on the variety show's buzz. And she didn't want Jasper to be alone with me either, so she quickly changed her tune. It hurt when I first twisted it, but it doesn't hurt now. We should finish the show properly, start to finish. Even so, we need to treat the sprain first. This time Jasper wasn't discussing it with her. He simply carried her away. So sweet, just scooped her up and carried her off. I'm dying, I'm dying. Helen finally gets alone time with the crown prince. Even watching this is exhausting. After they left, the atmosphere in the kitchen improved immediately. Before long, my tomato and egg stir-fry was done. Judging by the color alone, it turned out surprisingly well. I wanted someone to taste it, but I realized the only person left nearby was Grant. What if it tasted awful and somehow harmed a singer's throat? I'd better go find Jasper. If you've got a lab rat, you squeeze the same one again and again. With that thought, I carried the tomato and egg upstairs to find him. As I passed the dressing room, I heard movement inside. I pushed the door open. What I saw wasn't Jasper at all, it was Helen. There were no cameras here, and Helen didn't bother pretending anymore. So? Afraid I'll tell Jasper what you said, so you came running over, all eager? I raised an eyebrow. Why would I be afraid? If you say it, does that mean he'll believe you? Helen couldn't argue back, so she rolled her eyes dramatically. Monica. You won't be smug for much longer. After we finish filming, I'm going to meet Jasper's parents. Meet the parents? How come I, his sister, didn't know anything about that? My suspicious look only made Helen even angrier. If you start sucking up to me now, I can still recommend a few bosses for you to latch onto. At least you won't be unable to survive in this industry. And don't be so arrogant. Whose bed you climb is still climbing a bed. I lowered my gaze to the mic I hadn't taken off yet, and immediately realized this was my chance, Helen exposing her true colors. Miss Sarah's old habit of pimping people out really hadn't changed one bit. No, actually, I should address you as Madam Sarah the brothel keeper. Helen narrowed her eyes. So it really was you who ruined my plans at the hotel during the last production. The day we joined the crew, I went back to the old family house. By the time I returned to the hotel, there were no rooms left. Luckily, there was a nearby hotel owned by the Carter family, with reserved rooms specifically set aside. So I went there. When the elevator was going up, it stopped at the 19th floor. The doors opened, and a girl stumbled in, disheveled and panicked. She was shaking all over, clutching my hand with a death grip. Take me away, please. Her eyes were unfocused, and her body kept trembling uncontrollably. I realized she might have been forced to take something she shouldn't have. I didn't think too much. I took her away immediately and sent her to the hospital. When I came back later, more than a dozen bodyguards were searching the floor. They claimed they were looking for Helen's missing earring. Was there anything left to not understand? I never imagined my brother's girlfriend was doing this kind of thing behind the scenes. What made it worse was that Helen did it cleanly. She only introduced people, she never left evidence. Even the girl I'd saved changed her story the next day, saying she was the one who'd been greedy for wealth, and it had nothing to do with anyone else. Before, I had no proof. But now, I could bait Helen, make her say it herself in front of the live stream. With that thought, I agreed. So what if it was me? Helen laughed. If it was you, then everything's fine. After all, the whole internet already knows you're the third party. You, someone impure, accusing me, someone pure. She dragged out the last word, savoring it. Who do you think the netizens will believe? I didn't answer. Helen grew even more arrogant. It doesn't matter if you aim high and set your sights on Jasper. Soon I'll be Mrs. Carter. And you? Who knows whose bed you'll be in, some cheap, used trash. She kept talking, then broke into a giggly laugh, as if she could already see my future laid out before her. That string of venomous words left plenty of viewers genuinely confused. Holy, what is this turn of events? Passers-by followed the gossip trail over. Showbiz really is a mess. Helen talks so nastily it makes my skin crawl. And what does Madam Sarah the brothel keeper even mean? And ruining things at the hotel, what was that about? No, I'm a woman too, and listening to Helen makes me so uncomfortable. I always thought she was a gentle little white flower. Even so, there were still tons of fans defending Helen. So what if she talks harshly? Please, this is the legitimate girlfriend ripping into the mistress. You expect Helen to stay polite at a time like this? Exactly. I think Helen did nothing wrong. I wish I could climb into the screen and curse her a few more times. Just then, there was a knock at the door. I hadn't taken off my mic. The crew was here. I spoke first, cutting them off. Are we moving on to the next part of the process? I'm coming right out. After that, I stepped out of the dressing room. Helen didn't suspect a thing. But the director outside was already dumbstruck. Miss Brown, you didn't take your mic off. I nodded. I know. Don't tell Helen what people are saying online. The buzz next is only going to benefit you. But, the director hesitated. Because they didn't want to offend Jasper. I could tell at a glance what they were struggling with. Do you really think Jasper would still protect her if he knew Helen's true face? Who you should stand with in this wave, I don't need to spell it out, do I? The director clenched his teeth. Fine. The bloodier the storm online, the warmer and more harmonious the set became. Helen didn't stir up trouble. The guests shared a friendly dinner together. After the meal, the crew suggested a game to decide who would wash the dishes. The game was, I have, you don't. Helen sat on the far right, so the round started with her. She immediately covered her face shyly and said, I have a boyfriend. Grant protested at once. Isn't it kind of cheating to specify a gender? Jasper turned to him. You can date a boyfriend too. No gender restriction. This is such a strong, protecting the wife moment. I'm shipping so hard. You people will ship anything, everything Helen did has already been dug up. Please, those are obviously Monica framing our Helen. Exactly. Didn't you see the Crown Prince is still protecting her? The game went around once. By the time it was my turn, I'd already folded down 5 fingers. I thought about it. The internet had probably dug up everything it was going to dig up by now. If Jasper stayed clueless any longer, it would be almost ridiculous. So I decided to lay my cards on the table. There's family of mine at this recording. Jasper hesitated, glanced at me, and in the end didn't fold down a finger. When Helen saw Jasper hadn't moved, a blush immediately rose on her face. She didn't fold down a finger either. I lifted a brow. Miss Sarah, games require honesty. May I ask, where is your family? Helen hadn't expected me to press, and she snapped back immediately. Then where is your family? Just as Helen assumed I'd back off, I suddenly pointed at Jasper. Right here. Family on the same household register as me. Silence. The set and the live stream both fell into a strange, eerie silence. Clearly, that sentence had short-circuited everyone's brains. What the hell, what does that mean? Monica and Jasper got married? Then doesn't that mean Monica is the legitimate wife, and Helen is the mistress? This plot twist, damn, I officially declare this the biggest reversal gossip of the year. That's impossible. Helen's expression finally cracked. She looked at Jasper. Jasper, this is fake, right? It's just for the show, right? All eyes converged on Jasper. Jasper shook his head. It's real. Just as everyone was still digesting the bombshell and the marketing account headlines were already being drafted, Jasper added one more sentence. Monica is my biological sister, same household register. Okay. Now that is variety show entertainment. Not squeezing an ad into the middle must have been hard for you. This dramatic pause, so you're giving us twists and turns on purpose, huh? You really know how to play the variety show game. So she's his sister. Then didn't Helen just offend the sister-in-law? A colossal misunderstanding, an entire family misunderstanding. Helen's expression changed again and again. I raised my brows and kept going. So where is Miss Sarah's family, then? Have you and my brother registered your marriage certificate yet? Helen forced a smile. Sister, you're joking. Of course we haven't registered. When I said family, I meant my assistant. She's been with me since my debut, she's with me 24 hours a day. In my heart, she's family. Helen's ability to react on the fly was frightening. Not only did she wriggle out of the awkward corner, she even made herself look loyal and sentimental. In an instant, fans started speaking up for her again. Helen is just pure, that's why she got played by marketing accounts and ended up clashing with Monica. Yeah. If it wasn't explained clearly before, you can't really blame Helen. Now that it's out in the open, it's perfect. No more entanglements. Are the people upstairs goldfish? Monica already exposed Helen for pimping, did you all forget? The internet fought viciously, but the game continued. Helen acted as if the earlier hostility between us had vanished. I lost and had to wash the dishes, she rushed to help me wash them. Serving tea, pouring water, washing fruit, calling me Sister Monica, every other sentence. Her whole body screamed one word, ingratiation. Compared to Helen's ability to bend and stretch, I kept my face cold, and got dragged online again. By the time I heard about it from the crew, I had nothing to say. I'd been cursed enough already. One more round didn't matter. Besides, I truly didn't want to give Helen a pleasant face. As long as I was here, Helen was never walking through the doors of the Carter family. Filming went on until 9 at night before everyone returned to their rooms to wash up and rest. I had barely stepped into my room when Jasper arrived right behind me. Sis? Helen didn't mean it. I lifted a brow, looking at my love-brained little brother. She sent you as her lobbyist? Jasper shook his head. No. I came on my own. Helen targeted you because she didn't know who you were. She was just jealous, that's why she said those things. I sighed. Jasper, do you actually know her? Jasper froze, lowered his head, and didn't make a sound. I handed him the phone I'd gotten back from the crew. Go online and look. The premise of loving someone is understanding them. What you like is all an act she performs for you. Everything is fake. Jasper took the phone with the expression of someone walking to his execution. Before he could even open it, there was another knock at the door. Who is it? It's me, Helen. I raised my brows, quickly started a live stream, and shoved the phone into Jasper's hands, telling him to hide behind the curtains. Where's Monica? You start a live stream and show us a black screen? Not black, feels like the curtain is blocking it. What is this weird cheating POV? My curiosity is making me stay. Feels like something huge is coming. After Jasper hid, I opened the door. What are you here for? Helen didn't answer right away. She walked in on her own and sat down. Monica, you're feeling pretty smug right now, aren't you? I nodded. A little, yeah. But Helen dropped the ingratiating tone completely and lifted her chin arrogantly. Now it's your turn to cater to me. The moment she said that, I was utterly baffled. She continued, you're a woman. You don't have inheritance rights. Everything in the Carter family belongs to Jasper. As long as you don't provoke me, once I'm running the household, I can still give you some pocket money. When you get married off, I'll allow you to take a few tens of thousands as dowry. But if you insist on going down with me right now, then you won't spend a single cent of the Carter family's money in the future. What? What do you mean I don't have inheritance rights? Give me a few tens of thousands in pocket money? Was Helen sleepwalking? She hadn't even married into the Carter family, and she was already acting like the lady of the house. I looked at Helen with pure disdain. Did evolution leave you behind? Or did some foot-binding cloth from the old society get stuffed into your brain? Yes. Drag her. Helen has been bottoming out my limits all day. It's the 21st century and she's still playing gender discrimination. Unstanning, I can't believe I supported a fossil. It's too embarrassing. I'm dead. I never liked Helen anyway. Only you elementary school kids believed she was some pure white jasmine. At the same time, the online powwow about Helen the entertainment industry madam also shot onto the trending searches. All of it, Jasper watched silently. In the room, Helen flew into a rage and roared, Monica, just you wait. I shrugged. Has it occurred to you, you might not be able to marry into the Carter family at all? Helen was so furious her chest heaved. Then she seemed to remember something. Jasper is an adult. He can decide his own marriage. You can't threaten me. I give you a little face and you open a dye shop. Do you really think you can use his marriage? Sorry, I cut Helen off, expressionless. I actually can. Jasper, you tell her. Can I make decisions about your marriage? As my words fell, the curtain lifted, and a tall figure stepped out of the shadow. Jasper kept his head lowered, looking a little despondent. I stroked my chin. Was Jasper about to cry? Then he slowly raised his head. His eyes were rimmed red as he stared at Helen. So this is the real you. You've been lying to me the whole time. What I liked was never real. All of it was fake. All right. Looks like this heartbreak hit hard. Helen panicked and tried to explain. I didn't, this isn't what you heard. Monica, yes, it's her. Helen pointed at me. She led me into saying it. She'll do anything. She can't stand to see you doing well. She wants to harm you and swallow the Carter family's property alone. When she finished, the disappointment in Jasper's eyes only deepened. The Carter family is currently held under Monica's shares, and her younger brother Jasper manages it on her behalf. The Carter family has always been hers. Helen staggered back. Her eyes went vacant, and she kept mumbling, that's impossible, that's impossible. Your last name is Brown. You're a woman. You're the outsider to the Carter family. But no matter how much she refused to believe it, it was the truth. My last name is Brown because my mother's last name is Brown. My father never cared about surnames, and he never cared whether the heir was a son or a daughter. Compared to me, the crystallization of love, Jasper, a child conceived by accident, seemed a little extra. Thankfully, aside from being a little obsessed with love, Jasper didn't grow up crooked. Maybe he idolized the pure love my parents had so much that he was easily fooled by Helen. Fortunately, he hadn't sunk too deep. Damn, so it's not the crown prince of the capital, it's the eldest princess of the capital. Sister Brown hid it so well. What virtue did this servant have to watch the young lady act? This gossip is another reversal on top of a reversal. Helen is completely finished now. The show paused recording. First, because Helen collapsed and couldn't continue. Second, because the police showed up at the door. They launched an investigation into Helen's coercive introductions in the industry, pimping women out against their will. Many actresses who had been dragged into it stepped forward to speak out and accuse Helen. A week later, the official police account published the investigation results, and all works related to Helen were removed across the internet. This time, Helen was truly, thoroughly blacklisted. I gained tens of millions of followers overnight. Riding that wave, I became the newest traffic darling. President Lee grinned from ear to ear and directly transferred shares to me. I didn't immediately go act as the female lead. Instead, I kept my feet on the ground and worked on my acting. Step by step, I trained myself up. And besides acting, cooking also became my new favorite hobby. One day, I wrapped early and messaged Jasper. Tonight I'm making sweet and sour fish at home. At the Carter family, Jasper, who had just gotten off work and gotten into the car, instantly crawled back into the office at lightning speed. The next second, a photo of him working diligently was sent to me. "Sis, I'm working late tonight." I put down my phone, stared at the sweet and sour fish in the pan, charred black, and fell into deep thought. In the end, the noise faded, masks fell, and the truth stood quietly beside me. I didn't need to fight for a door that was already mine. Family, dignity, and my own path, those were things no one could take away. I walked forward calmly, knowing exactly who I was, and where I belonged.